land is your land, and this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and
Frona
me.
Payne Davis, wife of Claud Davis, mother of Roy Davis, grandmother of Philip Davis, great-grandmother of Jennica Davis, great-great-grandmother of Cosmo Davis Hockett. She was born in Atchison County, Missouri, August 30th, 1887. 2 years later, the Oklahoma land rush of 1889 was one of the biggest historical events in U.S. history. As thousands lined up for the big land grab, towns were literally built in one day during the rush to homestead. The Indian Territory was invaded by white settlers working their way west. Frona came to Oklahoma with her parents, William Ballinger and Edna Payne, and 2 brothers, Dick and Amos, in a covered wagon, arriving sometime before 1900. They settled on a farm near Blackwell, Oklahoma, just 8 miles west of Stillwater. The fertile land offered a good location for a small farm. Frona attended the Cherokee School across the road from the Payne family farm at the northwest corner of the town intersection. The school was a one-room white frame building with a school bell in the tower. 30 children or more attended the one-teacher school for grades 1 through 8. The Payne family, along with everyone else in the country, was affected by the Great Depression of 1929 through 1932, and for the Oklahoma farmers, Black Sunday, April 14, 1935 proved to be the devastating last straw as great clouds of dust roared into towns and across the farmlands. Still, the farms around Blackwell managed to survive until 1937, when the federal government acquisitioned the land from the farmers to construct a large dam and lake. With the rising water, the farmland would be lost. The Yates Post Office and grocery store buildings were just up the road, perhaps a quarter mile from the Payne farm. They, too, began to submerge as the lake rose. Those buildings were still standing when the lake began to rise, and the remains are still there on the bottom of the lake today. Perhaps it was through the Amos neighbor that Frona met Claud Davis. They were married at an early age after Frona was finished with the 8th grade. As told in the chapter on Claud, his parents Jacob and Ida Davis encouraged him to purchase the little house in Stillwater and the 2 50-foot lots across the alley from them when it was for sale for $500. Pearl was born in 1908, Roy January 1, 1910, and Robert Claud on April 10, 1921. Frona took care of the home and raising 3 children, while Claud was known to be a handyman and delivery driver. Claud felt himself to be a ladies' man and enjoyed a stiff drink now and then. In the 1930s, Claud met a woman named Della who loved to dance and drink. Their ensuing affair led Frona and Claud to divorce. Claud and Della moved into one of the little houses down the street and were together for 4 years. During the difficult divorce years, Frona and her children took in college girls to share the house. Roy moved into the barn where he had a small radio repair shop. After the death of Claud's mother in January of 1933, Claud missed his family and wanted to go back to Frona and to remarry her. He had given the property to Frona in the divorce settlement, but when remarried, the property remained Frona's. It was not included in Claud's estate. Pearl was given the house on 9th Street, in which Claud and common-law wife Della lived. During their time in Stillwater, 2 events shook the neighborhood. While visiting a friend down the street during a rainstorm, everyone heard a loud thunderclap and saw a flash of lightning. It had hit the back porch of the Davis house, tearing it to shreds. Claud and Roy worked together to repair the damage. Sometime later, 2 of the neighborhood boys were playing with a gun in the backyard when it accidentally went off. The bullet grazed Frona's wrist and continued on to the neighbor woman's house, where it hit and killed her. January 5, 1949, Claud had been out drinking, and when he drove home he must have passed out and accidentally drove off the road into a ditch. He never regained consciousness and may have frozen to death. Frona was back to being single again, but this time she had some rental property for income, and Roy had quit college to help with the family support. After Claud died, Frona eventually met Charlie Osborne and got married to him in her later years. Frona died of old age in 1964 in the Pawnee Hospital. Frona Payne Davis was the great-great-grandmother of Cosmo Davis Hockett, the great-grandmother of Jennica Sims Davis Hockett, the grandmother of Philip Davis, and mother of Roy Everett Davis.
This land is your land, and this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.